Okay. Have you ever sent a text to the wrong person and what did it say?
Yes, I did. I texted the wrong Chris. There's a lot of Chris's.
Yeah,
I
understand the
So,
struggle.
yeah, so actually my boss, her name, her shortened name is Chris.
Oh no.
So I texted her my other friend Chris, a whole list of things that we were supposed to do, and I was like, oh. Sorry, wrong Chris.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Ignite Summer Camp Edition. I'm your host for today, Paige Sprick.
I'm Moses Gonzalez.
And I am Nee McDonald, and we are so happy to be here.
Today we're talking about navigating work-life balance, even for high schoolers like us. We're realizing how challenging it can be managing both a job and our studies.
We're so excited to have Marco Swaysgood with us today. He's a recent graduate who is now working here at the admissions office at Southern Adventist University.
Let's get into the episode.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'd like to especially thank our guest, Marco, for being here. We're so glad to have you here.
Pleasure.
Before we start our discussion, we thought it was a good idea to have some icebreaker questions to get to know each other and have some fun. So we have a little mystery box here. It's a Mario mystery box. And so each of us is gonna pull out a question and ask the question to somebody, or if someone asks you a question or you ask someone a question and you don't feel comfortable answering it, or you think somebody else is better suited for it, you can just pass it on to the next question.
Okay.
We're so
Yeah, sounds fun.
so excited to have you
I'm
here.
excited to see the questions.
I guess I'll start off since I'm already talking. Okay. Grab a random one. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, since you're our guest, I think it's only fitting that we ask you the first question.
All right.
So Marco, what is the worst fashion trend you've ever participated in?
Oh, participated in.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's a good question. I try not to participate in bad fashion trends.
Of course,
You know.
everyone does.
But I guess at one point I did try to my hair is very curly, you can see it right now, right? But I used to brush it a lot, and so it'd make it wavy straight.
Yeah.
And especially when the Justin Bieber hair was a thing, I guess I tried to make it more like that. And so I think that's probably the worst fashion trend I did.
Okay.
Yeah, that with the snapbacks as well. Quite a combination, you know.
Yeah.
How long did you do that for? Was it a week time period, or was it
a couple
No,
months?
it was a little more than that. I would say it was a good year and a half of middle school.
Oh, okay, that's a long
of middle
time.
school, you know.
yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah,
middle school? Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm, that.
Okay.
Yeah. I look back at old pictures and wow.
That was
That was a time. That was
me.
a choice.
Regret.
Yeah.
That was- yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Have you ever sent a text to the wrong person and what did it say?
Me? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yes, I did. I texted the wrong Chris. There's a lot of Chris's.
Yeah.
I
understand the
So,
struggle.
yeah. So actually, my boss, her name, her shortened name is Chris.
Oh no.
So I texted her my other friend Chris, a whole list of things that we were supposed to do, and I was like, oh, sorry, wrong Chris. And so he was just what do I do with this information? So
Right.
yeah. And then also, I think I texted my parents something I was supposed to go to a friend, and then thank goodness the unsend thing was
Oh.
the thing. So I just unsent it and it just disappeared. But yeah. That could have been bad. So yeah, but I think those are the two times. But luckily I got out of them pretty scathe-free. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like I triple check. Is this the
Yeah.
right
Oh,
person?
yeah.
The correct
Yeah.
Chris.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but then that's through putting emojis next to their names or
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Remembering
yeah.
which one's which.
Yeah.
Yeah. When in doubt, I'll just use Instagram instead. I'm
Yeah,
DMs.
that works.
yeah. So, all right. Should I? ask
Yeah,
one?
why not?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's see. So this one says, What's the most embarrassing nickname you've ever been given? Do any of you guys even have nicknames? I guess that's the first question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Well, okay, so this was back in middle school.
Oh.
That's always the worst time.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
Yeah,
the
so
bad
never wanna-
trends.
Never want to go back to
Yes.
those years.
No,
Right.
please no.
But in middle school, I was part of the soccer team. There was this kid, I won't name names,
Oh.
but my last name's Gonzalez.
Okay.
And so he used to call me Granola Bar.
How does that even fit?
I have no idea. But yeah, that's the worst. It's
Nickname, yeah.
so weird.
I'm so sorry.
But
Did
I'm
you
like-
eat granola bars or like?
no, no, like the funny
I was
thing.
wondering,
It
like,
was
Your
so
go-to
random.
snack. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so random.
funny.
Like, I don't know how he got that,
Okay.
but yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the only nickname I've been given.
Okay.
That's bad.
Yeah. It's an odd one for sure. Wanna?
No, it's passing grade.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Make it an interesting one.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Right.
This is awkward. Okay, what are your hobbies or interests? Nina, you want to answer this one?
Yes. Well, I love to go shopping. That could be a bad thing because
Yeah.
Spend a
Yeah.
little too much
That's
money.
good.
correct.
Yes.
I love to go shopping. I love to run. That's one thing I love to do. I
Okay.
was also on the track team, so I feel like that's one
Oh,
of my
that's
hobbies.
fun.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
What did you do
That's
for
cool.
track?
I did short distance.
Okay.
I did
So
not
like
do
the
long
200,
distance.
So like one.
200, 100,
Okay.
long jump, but
Okay,
my main
sweet.
events were the 100 and the 200.
Nice.
That's
nice.
fun.
I did track too, so that's why I
Really?
asked,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, were you long distance?
I was like mid. Like I think the longest was 400, but that was like the relay. So I did like
Oh, like the
relays.
4x4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
So-
heard that's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's a little intense. I was not a fan of that one. I prefer the 200 relay.
Right.
'Cause, yeah,
Is that your
shorter.
favorite sport?
No, my favorite sport is probably volleyball now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
I love
Thank you.
volleyball,
It's so fun.
Yeah, and it's like fun to play on the sand or in the gym. So it's
Yeah.
just it's very
He
versatile.
gets me, he gets
yeah,
me. Yeah.
You know, but yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's fun. So
That's amazing to hear.
yeah, yeah.
Just
So-
curious, what's your position in volleyball?
My position. I'm really bad at back row. So if I'm in the back, you can just send it to me, and you'll probably get the point. But but I like playing like hitter.
Outside
Like, I
hitter?
like- yeah.
Okay.
So I'd rather be that position. I'm not really good at like setting either. So
Wow.
I'll typically switch with someone who's better. But
Yeah.
So you said you like doing volleyball, and I do know in volleyball sometimes you have to dive for the ball.
yeah.
So
Do you
Have you-
dive?
right, have you ever like gotten an injury or?
I've definitely messed up some pants.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like my favorite pair of like Adidas like pants.
Yeah.
Like I typically use them because it's more like sporty wear.
Like
course.
comfortable.
Yeah, and so then so I wore those for volleyball here actually at Southern for
Oh.
intramurals, and so I just you dive for the ball because you want to get the point, and then I got the point,
Oh.
but I messed up my pants.
At a
so,
cost,
Yeah,
at a cost.
definitely at a
Cost.
cost. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now they're looking a little worse for wear, but hey,
Oh.
I just my go-to volleyball pants now because they're
Right.
already tough. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will grab a question.
all right.
This one is for Moses.
Oh, okay.
What is the best advice that you ever have been given?
Oh, let's
Getting deep.
see. Let's see. I think the best piece of advice that I've ever been given is probably by my mom.
Of course.
It's always the
Yeah.
moms.
Right.
Um,
Mother knows best.
Yeah, mom knows best. What she told me, she was like, make sure in anything that you do, put God first.
That's a good
'Cause-
one.
If you put God first, everything will follow after. Yeah,
That's so true.
yeah. So yeah, I
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah.
Come
I
on.
mean, it's I still use it. I
Yeah.
mean, every morning, like since I do Pathfinders,
Okay.
like we have like a weekly journal, and so I feel like that helps me a lot, and so it helps me at least put that into my daily schedule,
Right. So that's you putting God first every day.
and then go out throughout my day.
Nice.
Okay.
That's good.
That's cool.
Wow. So were you raised Seventh-day Adventist?
I was, yeah. So my
Okay.
dad's actually a pastor.
Wow, pastor's kid.
Pastor's kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't flaunt it. but yeah, so I definitely was born into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
How was the experience like?
it's a very interesting experience, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. I think that there's definitely blessings and drawbacks to it. The blessing is like no matter what church you go to, typically everyone is gonna be your friend, right? It's like,
Yes.
oh, welcome. And it's very
Everyone
welcoming.
wants to be the pastor's kid's
Yeah.
best friend.
Yeah, so it's very welcoming. Like, oh my gosh, like, hey, welcome, come sit with us, you know. So there's never like a lonely feeling, you know, when I
That's-
had to move.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's like a double standard that's often held for pastors'
Right,
kids,
yeah.
right? Like,
Of course.
yeah, I
They
vividly
have to be
remember.
perfect.
Yes, yes,
They have to be
exactly.
This way. or
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah. It's what people don't realize is that being a pastor's kid, it's like you didn't sign up for this job, but you just were born into the job,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
and so it's like you have to be like the perfect family. You have to have set the standard for everyone else, even
You
if
have
they
to
don't
look a
uphold
certain
it.
way.
You have
Right.
to, right?
Yeah.
So
Pressure.
yeah,
Pressure.
yeah. So
Pressure.
it's kind of tough sometimes. I remember like one time when I was a kid, we were playing tag in the church. And it wasn't in the
Oh,
sanctuary, but like
okay.
in the church building,
Right.
right? And this other kid had tagged me, and so I was running after him. And I ran after him and passed his grandmother. And his grandmother stopped me, not him, but me,
Oh, of
and told
course.
me that I shouldn't be doing that. Like, yeah, and so it was like my bad for doing it. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, you should know better. So it's like stuff like that. It's like, why don't you
Like
stop
the
your own
standards
kid?
that were held
Yeah.
against
Yeah,
you,
yeah. So it's just that was annoying. But other than that, I mean, it was a good, it wasn't that bad of a experience, you know. So.
Okay.
Did you guys
Yeah.
move a lot because your dad was a pastor?
So
Or-
I was definitely blessed and very fortunate to not move as much as other pastors' kids do. I know that
Okay.
they can. It really depends. Like some kids I hear move every year, some kids every
Oh.
like 5 years.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't move until I was 13, so that was the first
Okay.
time we had to move.
Okay.
And it was like a big deal because it was from like Ohio to Florida, so I was like,
Yeah,
it wasn't just like
It's a-
districts, it was like
Yes.
states
Yeah.
apart, and like since I was like my home, like where all my friends, my whole
Right,
life
right.
was.
That's
It was a
hard.
big move. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, like it was definitely where I needed to be, and where God placed us was like very intentional. So I was very like blessed and happy to be in Florida. But that transition was definitely tough on little Marco. So, and then after that, I stayed. We stayed in that church until I graduated from high school, and then after that, they moved again. But I didn't really experience as much of the move because I was
Because
it was in
you were
college.
already in,
Yeah.
yeah.
So coming back was kind of tough because I was like visiting family in a
Yes.
new place, and so I didn't have like my friend group there.
Right.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
not as much.
Wow.
But my sisters had two more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the transition into like a different like high school environment?
It's very interesting. I guess for me, I didn't have to transition high schools. I had to transition middle schools, so it was kind of like an awkward
Okay.
time because I moved between 7th and 8th grade. So that was my transition period.
Okay.
So moving middle schools was odd because middle school is already an odd time, right? We were just talking about it earlier. And so that was just a weird time for me. I considered going into middle school with like a different accent because I was like, yeah, 'cause, like no one knows you, you know.
Yeah.
So I was
okay.
like, maybe I could just
Something
like be this
different.
new person, right? Yeah, like I don't know.
the
And
normal.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's a new start. So that was kind of like the exciting part of it. It's like no one knows me. I could do
Yeah.
whatever, be whoever.
Okay.
And so I think it was like kind of good in that sense because I could just have a fresh start and didn't have to be like whatever I was in my other school, right? So that was kind of cool to like be different, be
Yeah.
new. But yeah, it was a weird time for sure. And then after that, I left that zone, that district, to go to a different high school because I didn't really like that middle school and what the high school it fed
Yeah.
into was.
Of
So
course.
then, so yeah, that was a different, again, a new transition. But I was excited for that one a little more just because it was my choice to do that, right?
Yes.
So yeah, but I think that like just moving around has made me very adaptable to different situations and different people and groups and stuff like that. So now I kind of like welcome the change, and like
Yeah.
I don't like to get too comfortable. You know, I like to always be able to meet someone new or do new things like that. So I don't know.
Okay. So what was your major?
In college?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had 2 different majors actually.
Okay.
So I
really?
Oh, you were a double major?
Wow.
double major, double degree.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up
Okay.
getting. I started with my BS in biology with a biomedical emphasis,
Yeah.
and then I did my BA in international studies with a Spanish emphasis.
Oh.
Wow.
So yeah, it was for pre-med track,
Yeah, that's
and then the second degree was earned while I was abroad in Spain for a year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
That sounds fun.
that kind of paired together, and so in 5 years I got the two bachelors. So
Were you doing mission work in?
it was study abroad, so it wasn't mission work, yeah. But during the time abroad, I got to do an internship at one of like an Alzheimer's clinic over there. So it's not exactly missional, but it was kind of a cool experience to be able to
Something, yeah.
minister to people like that. So
How did you balance like work with homework,
yeah,
with
it's a
like
lot.
social life? How did you
Yeah,
manage that?
the balance is definitely a hard thing to strike. I definitely strive for it, but my balance was not the healthiest for that. I definitely like stayed up late hours, woke up early mornings, stuff like that. So
Been there,
my
done
sleep
that.
schedule was definitely a wreck. My boss was always like, "How much did you sleep last night?" And I'm like, "You don't want to know. You'd be disappointed."
That sounds like my
Yeah.
class sometimes.
Yeah, and so I feel like I was very involved in a lot of things. So I was the 2 majors, right, to start off with. I wanted to do intramurals with friends. I did leadership positions across campus. So I was like part of the Latin American club. I was their vice president and their night director.
Wow.
And so I did all of that. I used to do Studio 4109. It was kind of like Ignite Live, but like it was different, but like, but yeah, so it's definitely
Variation of
transitioned.
it.
Yeah, it's a different variation for sure. But yeah, all those different things that I kind of balanced and juggled. But yeah, I just took hours off of sleep essentially. That's how you balanced it. That's how I balanced it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that for other people, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely a challenge to say yes and no. And I think that's where you have to strike the balance. It's like, okay, this is kind of my selected social activity. This is my physical activity. This is my whatever else, and then balance that with your workload and getting good grades.
Okay.
That's important.
How did you fit your like faith into that? Like Bible time with
Yeah.
the Lord, all that.
Good question. I think that for me, the worship credits kind of helped me initially, like my freshman and sophomore years. That's how I kind of got my like routine down.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing to say, but like, I mean, like having to make sure to go to Vespers or like a morning worship or what is it? Life groups, right? Vespers and life groups were kind of like what I did consistently throughout my college experience. I just always felt so super filled at Vespers. Vespers was like not only like a spiritual event, but also like a social high, right? It's like
Yeah.
you've been struggling and throughout the whole week, and then God brings everyone together, and we're like enjoying and worshiping Him, right, all
Yeah.
together.
That's
Okay.
And then after Vespers, my life group would meet, and so then we'd do like a game, and then catch up on the week. We'd all say a high and low from the week, and so that's just like a bonding activity to do together, and then dive into the Word, and see. And we did different topics as well. We did like series, so that was kind of cool to like have something to like look forward to and be a part of consistently. So that's how I kind of tied it in for me. And then later on, like through COVID, I didn't do life groups as much, but definitely devotionals with friends.
Okay.
So that's how I kind of
yeah.
kept on to that, as well as, consistently going to church on Sabbath, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I was a part of like 2 different churches mainly throughout my time. It was Merge mainly, and then Crosswalk. So those were my 2 main churches that I went to. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool.
So as a double major like yourself, right? If I was doing what you did in college, what advice would you give to me?
So double major, yeah. My first advice would be don't overload yourself, right?
Okay.
Double majors, it can be a little daunting. Some people want to do it in 4 years, but you don't necessarily have to, right? I mean, you can do it in 5 years, and that's still very impressive. You're doing 2 huge loads of things. And then depending on how different the majors are, if they don't really overlap as much, that's another load to think about, right? You're not checking off the same boxes by just doing one class.
Right.
So give yourself grace for that. Don't like look at other people's timelines and think you have to like apply it to yourself. I think that's something that for me I struggled with a lot.
Yes.
Like you're seeing your friends move on and graduate and you're like, oh, but I'm still here. I should be where they're
Yes.
at.
Yeah.
But it's like you're different. Like they're doing 1 degree, you're doing 2. It's okay, you know. Giving yourself that grace and like not like listening to those like doubts and like voices in your head that are like, oh, you're not making it. You're not pushing yourself hard enough, right? Like you're good. So just give yourself grace and then time management, obviously, right? Knowing when to say no and knowing that it's okay to say no to things, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
hard,
that's
though.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
even as like a high school student, like saying no to certain things that I really want to do
Exactly.
is difficult.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even more
Yes.
so when you're like, I feel like in college, because you have that autonomy to say yes and no fully. Like your parents don't play a factor in the yes and no.
Yes.
So
It's all on you.
Yes.
You have to make that decision
exactly.
for
There's
yourself.
not like that
Right.
second layer of like,
Yes.
Mom, Dad, can I do this? You know? And they're like, no. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I can blame them, right? You have to take the onus on yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what advice would you give to students who are working a part-time job and doing full-time school?
Yeah. Again, it comes down to time management, right? Just juggling, okay, what's my workload? What's my school workload? Because full-time student is kind of like a full-time job, right?
Yes.
You're doing all those hours of class every week, plus the studying hours, plus the homework hours, etc. So just kind of like finding a job that works for you, right? You know, on-campus jobs, right? They're very flexible with your schedules, so that's kind of nice, right? Having a job that's flexible, that works with you. Like, hey, I have a test this day, I can't make it in. Will they like be mad at you for that, or will they be like, okay, like we'll make sure to have coverage, right, etc. Yeah, that's my biggest thing is like finding a job that works for you, whether it's flexibility of hours, whether it's it looks good on your resume long term, and it helps you, you know, be building yourself. That's things to look for. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was your job?
So I did several jobs throughout college.
Very impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, at one point it was definitely too many jobs, but I stepped back from that
Said
afterwards.
yes too many times.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. Just trying to get a bag, you know. But yeah, I was a grader for a while at the middle school. I was an RA. I was a student ambassador, so I did like give the tours on campus, right? And then I was also a desk worker, and I had like one of the worst shifts. It was like 5 a.m. to like 8.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So what time did you have to get there?
So I had to get there at like 4:50 a.m. just to like, you know,
So like
make
you
sure.
woke up at like 4:30?
Yeah, it was tough. And I was walking from Village all the
my
way
goodness.
to the dorm.
Gosh, you're a trooper.
that's-
Yeah, because I didn't have a car at the time,
Yeah.
so I was it's the grind.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so all those jobs were all actually at the same time, all overlapping. And then I became a student director, and then I dropped down on pretty much all those jobs to just focus on that one. And then that became a lot more manageable.
Yes.
And the director job was like more consistent throughout the day, so that's kind of why it worked out that way. So I was giving more hours and more pay for just one job versus all the other ones.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but tough. So, but it was good. It was a good experience. And then the student director job led into the job that I have now, which is the campus visit assistant manager. So
Nice.
yeah, pretty
Wow.
cool.
That is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
It was great getting to know you and like having these conversations. These are so good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good getting to know you guys a little bit too
It
at the
really
beginning,
is.
you know. So
I'll
Yeah.
definitely have to apply some of that advice to my life later
Yes.
because trust me, sometimes I really don't know how to say no to a couple of
It's-
it's
teachers.
hard. I have like literally a
hard.
sticky note on my computer that says it's okay to say no.
Say no.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
I need
Like a
one
little
of those.
reminder.
A little daily
Yeah.
reminder, you know, because
Yeah.
it carries through to the workplace, right? There's just no stopping of the questions getting asked to you,
Yeah.
right? So
Thank you all so much for joining us on today's summer camp episode on work-life balance.
Ignite is a student-run production based on the School of Journalism and Communication.
You can find more of our episodes on our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram at IgniteSAU.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.